OpenAI just became a platinum member of the Rust Foundation and invested $600,000 into Rust. But the most interesting part isn't the donation itself. It's why OpenAI, Anthropic, and other frontier AI companies are increasingly building their AI infrastructure in the Rust programming language. On top of that, I think there's a much bigger trend that every software developer should be paying attention to, and what this means for the future of software engineering. So for some context, here's a good LinkedIn post I found from Charlie Marsh, who's one of OpenAI's members of technical staff. He says, at OpenAI, we're continuing to bet on Rust as the future of systems programming. He goes on to say he's proud to announce OpenAI is making a $600,000 commitment to the Rust Foundation, which will give OpenAI a platinum membership, a seat on the board, and the money will go towards helping maintainers across the Rust ecosystem. Charlie also mentions that Rust has been critical to his work at Astral. Charlie founded Astral, which is one of the fastest growing developer tooling companies in the Python ecosystem. It's responsible for tools like Rough, which is a 10 to 100 times faster Python linter, and UV, which is a blazingly fast dependency manager for Python. Both tools are written in Rust. Also, Astral as a company got acquired by OpenAI in March 2026. Charlie goes on to say that the ecosystem has grown enormously over the past few years, and they believe it has the potential to continue pushing the frontier of programming. He goes on to say that the goal of OpenAI's $600,000 investment is to support both projects that are important for their own work and the broader maintainer-led efforts that keep the Rust ecosystem moving forward. He also mentions that Predrag, another member of technical staff at OpenAI and a longtime member of the Rust community, will join the Rust Foundation board of directors as the representative for OpenAI. Now, for a little bit more context on how OpenAI uses Rust, you may not know this, but Codex, OpenAI's competitor to Claude Code, is actually written in Rust, as we can see here in the repo. And we can also see here that a renderer for the Harmony response format used by ChatGPT open source models is also written in Rust. And obviously, these are only the public open source repos that we can see. So it makes sense for OpenAI to invest into the ecosystem of a language that it's using. Now, if we zoom out a bit, OpenAI is not the only AI company investing in Rust. Here's a backend engineer job posting from XAI. If we scroll down to the About the Role section, you can see that it says most of our backend infrastructure is written in Rust. So familiarity with a compiled language such as C++, Rust, or Go is highly beneficial. And then under basic qualifications, it says expert knowledge in either Rust or C++. On top of that, Elon himself has made a couple tweets about Rust, one of the most famous being this one. As a response to a tweet that said AGI will be built with Python, let that sink in, Elon just responded, Rust. Anthropic has also mentioned Rust in some of its engineering blog posts. This one, for example, is about building a C compiler with a team of parallel Claudes. And if you scroll down a bit, you can see they said to stress test it, they tasked 16 agents to write a Rust-based C compiler from scratch, capable of compiling the Linux kernel. And Bun, which is a JavaScript runtime and company that was acquired by Anthropic, also has some interesting history with Rust. So Bun was actually originally written in Zig, but its creator, Jared Sumner, decided to spend 2 weeks and rewrite the entire runtime in Rust using Claude. This change eventually got merged in, and Bun is now written in Rust. And Jared is now also a member of technical staff at Anthropic. So I guess the question is, why are AI companies investing into Rust? Well, AI companies are building some of the most important and valuable infrastructure and developer tools on the planet. And naturally, you want the software to be reliable, you want it to be fast, and you definitely want it to be secure. Given the sheer scale of this software across backend, infrastructure, and developer tooling, it makes sense to want a predictable language that is extremely performant and is easy to work with, especially for a systems programming language, given that it has a build system, dependency manager, and a test runner built in. So what does this mean for Rust developers? Well, for one, Rust is here to stay. There's a ton of AI infrastructure that will need to get built out over the next several years and decades. And Rust is being chosen more and more to build out this type of software. So it's another signal that Rust is in fact the future of systems programming and infrastructure software. It also means that AI companies will continue to hire engineers that can build performant and reliable systems. In general, there are different categories of software. Some software doesn't necessarily need to be extremely performant and has a high error tolerance. for example, web development projects. But other pieces of software need to be extremely performant, extremely reliable, and has a very, very low tolerance for errors. AI infrastructure fits that category, along with embedded software, aerospace software, automotive software, medical devices, robotics, and the list goes on. Overall, I think OpenAI's investment into Rust is definitely a good thing. And I'm excited that we'll have more Rust code, safer code, and just in general more adoption of Rust. By the way, I recently made a video about how learning systems programming in Rust is going to be increasingly important in the age of AI. Be sure to check that out if you haven't already. I'll leave a link in the description. And if you're interested in learning how to write production Rust, check out the Rust Live Accelerator. It's our tailored mentorship program where we help developers go beyond YouTube videos, build production-grade Rust systems, and land their first Rust job. You can join the waitlist for our next cohort by heading over to letsgetrusty.com/join or clicking the link in the pinned comment below. When you join the waitlist, we'll also send you our Rust developer roadmap as a small gift. So tap the link, join the waitlist, and I'll talk to you very soon.